Hey everybody, so decided to do a little bit of camping Labor Day weekend, and you can see in the background that the wind was already going by the time I left. The forecast actually said that the gusts were going to reach 55 miles per hour and factor in temperatures below freezing and some rain. But, if you waited for perfect weather, you're never going to get out. Oh, I took this video because it was kind of sad. You can see a trout attached to a lure attached to the tree. The one thing that comes with inclement weather is you see a lot of rainbows, and there were plenty of rainbows this trip. I think I actually saw a double rainbow and potentially a triple rainbow, if there's such a thing. Anyways, got to the trailhead safe and sound, and the weather was already starting to look kind of sketchy, but you know what? You're already here, so just gotta bite the bullet and go. So if you're familiar with the lake, some years there's a shuttle that comes across the lake and cuts your hiking down by like 2 miles. As you can see, there was no shuttle. So this is Greenstone Lake, and I had originally wanted to camp around this lake, but when I started looking for spots, either they were kind of exposed or there were already tents there. I think I saw one spot had like 5 tents. I did eventually find this secluded grove that kept the wind out and had a water source nearby. So after waiting for the weather to improve a little bit, I decided to finally just head out and fish in the rain. I went to the nearest lake and wasn't sure what to expect, but it actually turned out to be a pretty good choice. You can see here that the wind was going to be an issue, so I did a lot of back casting and going over my other shoulder. So I saw some risers, and surprisingly, and started with a hopper dropper. This might have been my second cast, but either way, it was pretty close to the beginning. You can see I'm just skipping it across the water, giving some motion. So you'll see I actually go to reel right away, and it's because it felt pretty heavy. Turned out it actually wasn't very big at all. This might have been the smallest fish I caught, but you'll see why it felt heavier than it really was. Like here you can see how it's hooked on the dropper, and I was actually pretty slow on the hook, I guess. Pretty fish though. I ended up fishing the hopper dropper for a while more, but no more action after that. And here you could see the wind and the rain going pretty good. There were actually some gusts that were pretty ridiculous. It sounded like a jet going off, but I was pretty sheltered, so didn't really feel much of it, except a few gusts. So I decided to switch to a really small leech, and it actually paid off. This might have been the first cast with the leech. So this actually ended up being, this might have been the biggest brook trout I've caught up to this point in my short fly fishing career. It actually hopped out of the net before I could actually get a picture of it, but you can see from this video clip that it was pretty good size, especially for a brook trout in the backcountry. So this one wasn't quite as long as the other one, but I think it might actually have been a little bit chunkier. The colors were a lot more deeper on this one as well. You can see the belly was pretty orange. So this one might have been the biggest one of all. I can't tell for sure because I actually lose this one shortly after when I try to go to Rio. But from the silhouette, when it came close to the surface, it looked bigger than the first one I caught. Or I guess it's the second one. First one I brought into the net. Legit. So did I really need to go to Rio? Probably not, and that probably cost me the fish, but it's just the way I was taught. So I actually didn't get much more action after that, and decided to head back to camp, mainly because I heard some thunder in the background. Here you can see the hail was actually starting. And the weather actually did improve after this point. The night was probably around freezing, and the wind gusts were pretty gnarly, so didn't get much sleep and decided, since the weather forecast was even colder for the next night, decided to go back a day early. Pretty bummed out about it because there's some pretty good lakes back there. I'll probably come back and try to do this as a day trip when the shuttle's back running. Oh, here you can see the hail starting on the way back. The weather report actually had called for potentially some snow, but didn't really see any snow, just hail and more hail. I guess the silver lining was the wind wasn't quite as bad this day on the walk back. Did see some people hiking in, day hikers that were in shorts and sweatshirts with no rain jackets. Thought that was pretty impressive of them. So that's Mono Lake in the background, and I've heard stories about the mobile gas station restaurant, so decided to stop in and get a steak. Thanks for watching, and see you next trip.